can't believe I used to think that a curl cream or a hair oil would fix my frizz. I used to think that I had to go 7 days without washing my hair. If I just follow that routine, I'll get results like hers. I don't want to diffuse because I don't want damage. These are all things that my curl coaching clients, as well as my community here, said that you wish you knew before you started with your curls. And those things that you used to do that you now realize were working against you the whole time. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Gina, and here on this channel, we simplify curly hair so it works with your lifestyle. Let's get into the 5 things that my curl coaching clients wish they knew. Keep in mind, these are not mistakes. These are simply blind spots. These are often the things that I point out with my new curl coaching clients, or what they realize they've learned after working with me, or for those of you who watch a lot of my videos and follow my methods. So let's get into it. The first one that you guys submitted the most was that you thought that more moisture was going to fix your frizz, and you couldn't believe how much moisture you were using in your routine because you thought your naturally curly hair was dry, because that is what we are told time and time again, that curly hair is dry, you need moisture. And it totally makes sense why we believe this misconception. So many brands in the curly hair space push a ton of moisture. The traditional curly girl method promotes so much moisture throughout your routine. However, we're often mistaking what our hair looks like when we don't have enough hold with dryness. So for example, people end up doing things such as avoiding shampoos because they're afraid of stripping their natural curls, deep conditioning constantly, even if you don't really need it, maybe not rinsing out your conditioner all the way. This was a big mistake that I made in the beginning. It was leaving my conditioner on because I liked that soft, slippery feeling, but it was really hurting my results. Only using leave-ins and curl creams to style your hair, or choosing brands that are really popular in the curly hair space that are very natural and botanical and are full of moisturizing ingredients and often lack long-lasting hold, or putting some of these popular hair oils on to try and tame your frizz. But that's just adding softness to hair that actually needs more hold. Moisturized curls look very similar to hair that has hold. When your hair has hold to it, you will see definition. It'll look a little bit darker. It might look kind of glossy. You can really see those curls. And when your hair is lacking hold, it kind of does look dry. It looks lighter in color. It looks more fuzzy, more frizzy. The curls are less defined, maybe more puffy. But don't confuse this with that stiff feeling that can come from hold. It's just that cast in your hair that you need to break after you style with a strong hold gel. Also, some strong hold gels have texturizing ingredients which can also give the feeling of dryness, but your curls are not truly dry. True dryness is that very brittle feeling. It's hair that feels inflexible, maybe very tangled, feels like it might break if you touch it. And sometimes you have hold to your hair, like your curls will be defined, but they're also frizzy. That's a sign of dryness, and that's usually what I experience when my curls are dry. When curls are simply lacking hold, they will look softer, they will feel soft to the touch, they'll look kind of fuzzy and puffy, and your hair won't have as much structure and definition. So I totally understand when your curls the next day look like they don't have enough hold, or maybe it's even happening after you finish diffusing your hair on wash day and your hold is breaking down and you think it looks dry, because they do look very similar. Almost everybody that I work with through my program, and also in talking to a lot of you, struggle with getting true long-lasting hold out of your results. And that's why I talk so much about balancing your moisture and your hold, because those two things interact, and a lot of people don't talk about this. This is the exact framework that I taught in my moisture hold balance video, where we need to look at each step of the wash day routine and manage the moisture level for your unique hair type and ensure that you have enough hold. Because curls do still need moisture, we all just need a different amount depending on our hair's texture. Be sure to stay tuned, because I am going to share with you some of my favorite product combinations that are moisture and hold balanced. The next thing that my clients realized that they were doing before is styling for the curl pattern that they wish they had. Almost every new client that I've worked with has told me some variation of, I want my hair to be curlier, tighter, fuller, more volume. Or they'll say, I just want my hair to look like yours. And a lot of you found me because you liked my results. Especially if you hire a coach, you follow her routine and you expect to get the exact results. But curly hair does not work that way. And that's exactly what I teach throughout my program and here in my content on YouTube, are those small tweaks that you can adjust based on your unique hair. Most of the time, I see this happening when people are styling. So I usually see one of two camps. An example of doing too much might be incorporating a lot of steps steps that don't necessarily make sense, such as plopping. Or I see this a lot with brush styling, where people are over brush styling their hair. They're taking very small sections and doing very precise brush styling when it's really not needed. And I totally understand why. Styling brushes are everywhere when you watch curly hair routines on the internet because they have some great effects. However, if you have waves or loose curls, all of that brush styling may be working against you, and all of those added steps. A lot of times the simplest routine for waves and loose curls is a simple rake and scrunch, and spending more time scrunching than all of that other crazy stuff that you're doing. So the fix here is not a different routine. It doesn't mean that you need a completely different routine to what I teach, and that's actually not what I recommend. The foundations that I teach still apply, but what I hope that you learn is to have an understanding of the why behind what you're doing. So you can take what works for your hair and what doesn't and customize it to build your perfect routine. That discernment is what coaching builds. Another example of just copying routines is maybe you've copied a routine that you saw go viral or something on TikTok where somebody is doing like a 10-step routine with using 6 different products. When my clients come to me with a routine like this, the first thing I do is start paring down the routine. And what's funny is most of my clients are using a simple 4-step routine: shampoo, conditioner, prep, and gel, or a styler. Exactly what I shared in the moisture hold balance framework. So they're really only using 2 styling products, and sometimes even 1. I'll put up some examples here on the screen based on hair finish types of a lot of the combinations that most of my clients get results with. A lot of us are using the exact same products in my group coaching program, so I'll put up some of those examples, but these combos tend to work with a lot of them, and we just tweak the amounts based on their hair type, or we mix and match. But it's so much easier to have a simpler routine. And when your routine still isn't working, here's what most people do next, which is often the wrong move. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to subscribe. Button is below, and it's totally free because I make videos like this every single week. The next thing that a lot of you mention that you wish you knew sooner or that you were doing wrong is I thought adding a new product would finally fix the problem. I hear this all the time when I'm watching my clients style and I'm watching their thought process as they're putting their products on. I've heard everything from, I feel like I need something else, or they'll ask me, what products will make my hair curlier? What could I add in to increase the curliness? I actually made a video on this exact topic of products that make your hair curlier, and it was very popular. And I understand why, because people are looking for a product to make their hair look curlier. But what I actually shared in that video is it's not really the product, it's the technique. Yes, there are products that have ingredients that can help enhance curls, and I'll talk about where those are needed, but oftentimes you have to have the right technique. It's not necessarily the product that's doing the heavy lifting. Adding in all of these products to fix one thing or another creates so much complexity, and you can't even tell what's working and what's not. This is also why I'm often paring down routines. Some other examples that I often see are adding in curl enhancing serums to try and increase the curliness, when really your gel with the right technique is going to do that for you. I see this all the time with popular foams and mousses like these, where people think if they add them in, it's going to give them more frizz control or more volume, but it's really just interacting with your main styler. And these are not bad products by any means. They're just not really doing what you think. Most of them are just adding more moisture and conditioning. So if you've ever seen me use like a foam or a serum product before my gel, which I don't use often, but if I do, I'm using it kind of like a leave-in step to intentionally reduce the hold of my gel. So think of foams and serums and things like a conditioning product, because that's mostly what they're doing, but you don't know that unless if you test your gel by itself and compare your results, do the exact same routine and see if that product is truly making a difference. You might find that you get better results with just your gel. But if you're still not getting the results that you want, maybe you still want your hair to be curly, you probably need to adjust your technique. So what you're doing when you're styling, how much you're scrunching, how you're diffusing, that's what I mean. Most of the time, the products are fine, and I usually have to fix the styling when I'm working with my clients. So that's why I always ask to see them style. I watch them style because there are those little details that I pick up on and I have them change. However, maybe we have fixed the products, balanced them, and we fixed the styling. And if they're still having problems, then it might go deeper than just the products and the techniques. Which leads me to my next next one that you all submitted, and that was you were washing your hair either way too much or not enough. You had no idea how often you should be washing your hair. Again, this is not your fault at all. None of these are your fault, by the way. We don't know what we don't know. And a lot of content online and even brands will say that curly hair should not be overwashed. That's just like a misconception that has been drilled into our brains with having curly hair, that you need to go longer in between your wash days. Or I also see the other end of the spectrum where people's hair is just not holding up. They don't have the right routine. They don't have that technique. So it's not holding up, so they're having to restyle every day, or they're wetting their hair down every day, like soaking it and restyling. So if you're currently under washing, you might be trying to stretch your wash day like 7 days plus. Maybe your routine is just so intensive that you don't have time to fit it in because it does feel overwhelming. But the problem with this is it can really create more work for you when you do go to wash your hair because the tangles build up. Your hair probably does get dry after 7 days. You probably get some product buildup. Maybe you've had to refresh a lot, so there's a lot of accumulation of product or just tangles and knots and a lot of excess frizz because you're trying to stretch it past its limit. It's really hard to go that long, and I don't expect anyone's hair to really hold up perfectly that long. Overwashing would look like your hair doesn't even last through the end of the day or into tomorrow, so you feel like you have to rewash it because it doesn't look presentable the next day. This is probably what I see the most often with clients, and I can usually get them to where at least it's lasting through the end of day 2 without having to do a lot. Some touch-ups are often needed for certain hair types, but what we want to avoid is a complete restyle or a soak down and restyle. Now, there are cases, of course, when people have a lifestyle or they swim or something like that where they have to wash frequently, and that's okay. We work on maintaining their hair's health with frequent washing. But this is where getting that help can be helpful, or just assessing your routine based on what I'm sharing here and figuring out a routine that works better for you. You might find that washing twice a week is actually better for your hair, and your routine is easier when you do wash it because you haven't pushed it too far. You can also check out my free resource, my wash day schedule and guide, where you can fill in a whole month of wash days based on a sample schedule, and I teach you how to rotate your wash days. Another one of the most common things that you all said that you were doing before is avoiding heat and diffusing because you thought it was going to damage your hair. It is true that using hot heat tools like flat irons, doing blowouts are damaging for naturally curly hair. Curly hair is more fragile and more susceptible to damage. So people end up applying the same rule to diffusing because it uses a hair dryer, and they end up avoiding heat at all costs, trying to keep their hair healthy. But the thing is, using a diffuser is not the same thing as doing a blowout or straightening your hair with a flat iron. Now, I'm not against air drying by any means, but you do have to evaluate if the problems that you're having could be solved by diffusing. So if you just incorporate diffusing, it would fix your problems. So air drying can take hours to dry, which can be a problem if you like to style your hair at night because you don't want to sleep with wet hair. And when the hair stays wet for so long, like if it takes hours to dry, it's more susceptible to getting frizz, getting messed up because there's friction and air as you go about your day. You're going to end up with less volume, less curl shape, more of an elongated look, which is not always a bad thing, but if that's not what you're going for, then you might want to consider diffusing. And there is research that shows that leaving your hair wet for an extended period of time is not as healthy for it as getting it dry quicker. So some of the benefits of diffusing are that gentle heat locks in your curl shape. So if you're wanting your curls to kind of spring up and stay intact and not fall or loosen by the time they dry, then you'll need gentle heat from your diffuser to set them. It also sets your gel cast faster, which in turn reduces frizz. It helps with volume and the overall shape of your hair. So if you struggle with like a triangle shape or maybe flat roots, diffusing helps you control the shape of your hair. It gives you more control over your result. With air drying, you're often surprised how your results turn out, and then it's hours later, or maybe you've even already left your house and you can't really fix your hair at that point. When people get frizz or damage from diffusing, it's often because they don't have enough hold in their hair, or maybe they're not using a heat protectant, which is still needed with diffusing, especially if you touch the diffuser to your hair. They're using a hair dryer or a diffuser that's not quite designed for curly hair, or gets way too hot, like the Dyson, which I don't recommend because it is way too hot, unless if you incorporate the cold shot button, but you don't want to diffuse on cold either. Or maybe it's blowing too hard to where the diffuser is not actually diffusing that airflow, or your diffuser design is just not great and it's not really benefiting your hair. So any of my clients or viewers that are struggling with this, once I show them the right setup with a heat protectant and a diffuser that's fit for their hair type, they get much better results. So that includes using a heat protectant like the Curlsmith Miracle Shield or the Living Proof Leave-In Conditioner Spray, or even the Not Your Mother's Curl Talk leave-in. Those all have heat protection in them, so they're going to protect your curls. And those go on before your gel, by the way. And then the Curlsmith Diffusion hair dryer is one of my favorites. I enjoy both the original and the travel size. I have clients that use both and really like them too. It's one of the most underrated tools for curly hair, and it makes a big difference because it's designed for naturally curly hair, so it won't damage your hair as long as you're using it properly. I've been using it for years, and I really get in there with my diffuser. I diffuse my ends, and I've never gotten split ends from it, whereas I used to get split ends, also back when my hair was damaged too, from using older hair dryers. So if you're not struggling with the problems that I mentioned with air drying, then certainly keep air drying, but if you're struggling with any of those, you should definitely consider it. When I look at all 5 of these things that we covered here today, I'm noticing a trend. It's not that you just don't know what you're doing, or you're using the wrong products or the wrong routine, or that you have bad hair. It's that you can't fix what you can't diagnose, and you can't diagnose what you've never been shown how to read. And I realized this when a lot of my clients were telling me that one of the biggest things that they learn now is they now pay more attention to their hair. And that's it. That's what I want to do with my clients, and also here with my content here, is teach you how to actually read your hair so you can have that discernment, you can know what works for you and what doesn't, so you can have that agency over your hair and be able to customize your routine for your unique hair versus just following something you see online. The frameworks that I teach here, like the Moisture Hold Balance one, apply for all hair types. You just need to know how to dial in those things for your hair type by reading how your hair responds to them. And that skill can be hard to build just by watching content here, especially if you consume a lot of curly hair content. So if you're ready to stop guessing and you want that second opinion on your hair, you want to be able to learn those skills, you can get in now for my summer curl coaching program. Enrollment is open only through June 15th, so make sure you sign up before then. The spots are limited. You can check out the details in the link that I'll have below. And I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Which one of these have you fallen victim to? Or tell me something that I didn't cover here that you used to believe, or something that you no longer do or you wish you knew before. And please don't be hard on yourself about this. We don't know what we don't know. All of us have to start somewhere, and unfortunately we're not just born knowing how to take care of our curly hair. I hope that you found this helpful, and if you want to learn more about balancing your products with the right moisture and hold levels for your unique hair, you can check out the video that I did. I'll link it for you right here on the screen, but it was part of my beginner curl series where I teach you how to build out your routine and how to balance and how to test and observe if you have the right lineup of products. So I will talk to you over in that video. Bye everyone.